Welcome in. It is day 277, and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And today we're going to be going over a game that I actually do not have with me in person, and it's not a game you're going to be able to easily find online. The game is actually not available yet. I was at PAX East, going from booth to booth, and as you do, you find some games that are either going on Kickstarter soon, just recently went through a Kickstarter, are new to the company, or are being test tried. In this particular case, I found a game that was being test tried, and it seemed like a game that was worthy of taking a shot on and learning about and adding in for one of my reviews. Now, I'm not sure if the name is going to end up being the name it is. They told me that it's gone through a few changes through as time has gone on, but the game is called Compile. Now, the concept of the game is reasonably easy. You have roughly 20 different piles of cards, and at the start of the game, it basically is going to go two-player game, two only. One player will pick one of the 20 stacks. The other player picks two. The first player picks two. The final player picks one. You each have 3 decks. Now, you're going to take the top of those decks, which is just going to say its name, and you're going to place them out in the order you wish. You're not going to show it to your opponent. They'll be face down, and then you flip them up, and now you have your matches. 3 different matches. You shuffle the rest of the cards together, you put them in your hand, and now is when the game begins. Now, these decks can be an easy, a medium, or a hard, meaning that the difficulty of the deck might be a higher area, but it doesn't mean it can't be competed with. An easy can beat a hard, or a hard can beat an easy. It's just the idea of, well, there's a lot more to do with this one, but it's also harder to get it to work, so you're going to have to work pretty hard to understand the deck and to make sure it runs properly. All the different types of decks will all depend on how it's going to affect gameplay. So, for instance, if you have one that's about gravity, it probably means that it's going to allow a little bit more maneuverability, moving of other cards. Whereas if you have one that's for speed, it means you're probably going to be able to play through your deck faster. Now, the idea is that you're trying to get cards down to add up points until the total value exceeds 10. When you do that, you compile the row. However, it's not that simple. What you are going to do is you're going to play a card from your hand either face up or face down. If it's face up, it has to go in the row of that particular card. So if you have gravity, it has to go in gravity. If you play it face down, you can go anywhere. The face up values depends on the deck, but it tends to be from 1 to 5. Sometimes you might find a deck that has a 0 or has a 6. You're going to basically get 5 or 6 of these cards mixed together, and there's always 1 or 2 missing. And the higher the value is, the less powerful its ability is. And those abilities can change. One might be a one-time only when you play it ability. There's another ability on the card that might say, well, this is a repetitive ability. There's another one that might be, well, this is going to work when this happens ability. So you're going to play the card. It's going to activate technically all 3. It's just the question of, well, do you even have an immediate on the card? It may not. It may only work as a repetitive. You're going to play the card. If it's face up, the abilities are active. You're going to play it where it belongs, and then the other player goes. And then you're going to go back and forth. Now, you can't play a card and then draw a card. That's not how the game works. In order to draw, you have to use an entire action to draw back up to your maximum. And you can't play the card to get to 10 and compile. It has to be that you played the card to get to your 10, and now your other player goes and gets back to you, and for your action, you compile. Now, when you compile, you're going to take all your cards, all your opponent's cards, they get discarded, and you're going to flip over your card. That card now has been compiled. It now scores a point. You're going to go back and forth, and as you do this and you flip cards, you're going to start seeing these compiles build up. When a player reaches 3, they win. Now, according to the creator, this game tends to go in the direction of 3 to 2. It's rare that a player wins 3 to 1, and he said it's almost impossible to win 3 to nothing. And additionally, when you compile, you can compile the same one again. So you might have a handful of cards that you're like, well, these are all for the ones I've already compiled. I had a bad, shuffle. However, I'm going to use them, and I'm going to compile again to destroy the cards they're using so that they don't get to score their compile. Additionally, you can always flip a card face down, which means it doesn't have any name to it, but it is worth 2. So you're going to be able to play that somewhere and help and potentially compile because of that. Now, there are cards that allow you to flip cards over, so you might say, well, I've got this Gravity 6, and I already compiled Gravity. I don't need that. But what I'll do is I'll play the Gravity as a 2 face down over on the Speed. And now I end up getting another card that says I can flip a card in me or my opponent's area. I flip that. It flips it to a 6. It doesn't move. You played it there, so it belongs there. It doesn't flip and then go to gravity. So now you've managed to get the gravity 6 onto your speed that can help you compile later. So there are lots of things to do with this. It seems like a pretty interesting game. I really hope it succeeds. It seemed from my watch, I watched an entire game playthrough. I felt it looked like a pretty strong 2-player game, but I'm not sure where it's going to end up in the long run. So all I can do is judge it on the stuff I saw for that day and try to give a review based on that. So why don't we jump into our 7 categories and judge what we can. When it comes to the art, there is no box yet, so I can't judge that. And when it came to the card art, it was very basic. It kind of looked like coding, and I actually thought it was nice. I don't think it was amazing, but I think it was nice. But they did tell me the art is not complete. They haven't gotten to the stage of truly going all in on the art yet. They're trying to make sure the game works before they go and they try to truly put their theme on it. So I'm going to say that because of that reason, it's got to be a thumbs down right now. It's not complete. There's no true box. There's not enough there to judge it. And while I normally would just say, let's not judge it, I have to be out there and say, what do I see? And what I already saw was inconsistency. We'll get there one day. The game's not complete yet. I'm sure when we get to the end, it's going to end up being a thumbs up one day. The components. Now, the components were that you're getting cards, and that's all there really is cards. But the cards were really good quality, and this was their test cards, so whatever they're going to put out in the long run should be even better than these. But these were already a solid 4 out of 5, so for me, the components look like they're heading in the right direction. Thumbs up. Your price. There is no price. It's not available yet. You're not going to be able to get it for a while. So for now, it has to be a thumbs down because it's not out there. But once this is done, once this is available for everybody, it's going to be interesting to see where this one lands for you. It doesn't sound like it's going to be too expensive, but we'll have to see what they decide on based on how much are they paying this artist, how much more work has to go into preparing this. There's a lot of money, I'm sure, and time that's going to take. They could drive that price up by a few bucks, which may not seem like a lot, but sometimes a game goes from 12 to 15, that's almost like jumping a little category on the payment area. So for now, price has to be that thumbs down. Difficulty. I felt this game was really good for primarily experienced. I think an expert can enjoy this game, and I think a beginner can enjoy this game. I'm not sure if a 10-year-old, kids are going to enjoy this, but I don't think they're going to be shying away from it. I feel like there's an opportunity here. So for me, I feel like for right now, based on what I saw, all the categories can at least try it. Thumbs up. Replayability. There's so much replayability. You have 20 total decks. You're only using 3 a person. So there's so much maneuverability of being able to mix those. And it's not like you're just making a 3-card deck. Part of the game is the choosing, which means you're countering somebody else. You see that one person's built up the speed, so you decide to counter them with the gravity so that you can move things around. I like that. I think it's interesting as you learn and you start to figure out what combos work or what counters another kind of deck, and you build yours in a special way. Thumbs up. Keys to victory. I just talked about during replayability. You have so many decks, you have so many different ways that they work together and they counter each other, and that gives loads of the keys to victory because you're shifting it. Every game will be a little different, but at the end of the day, it's all about compiling, and it's giving you that strategy to get to the compile. Thumbs up. Is it unique? I think this looks like a very unique game. We're going to see where it lands in the long run, but for me, that idea of having your rows set, having the ability to go after whatever row you want. You don't have to be having a heads-up matchup. You might be in row A, they might be in row C, and you really ignore each other. And then you both compile, and now all of a sudden, you're in their C area, but they've gone to B, but you're going to be coming head-to-head soon. Or you go straight on at each other, and you go, A and A right off the bat. Somebody's going to lose that matchup. The compile's going to hit, and they're going to lose all the work they did. It's going to be interesting to see how game to game goes. I think it looks very unique. thumbs up. Overall, what do I think? This looks like a very promising game. I was really excited to get to sit in and watch how they play this. I'm very excited to see where it lands in the long run. I think keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, see what you hear about it. In the long run, I'm hoping that when this game gets out there, it's not too expensive, and I would recommend to just pick it up and give it a try. It seems like a really cool game, and after having talked to the people who are working on this game, they did say that they're not sure where it's going to land, but they're hoping there might be an opportunity to make this into maybe a 2-on-2 game as well, maybe add in some like 3 or 4 player, everybody in a free-for-all type setup. They're not sure that will end up being brought in, but they could see the possibilities of it. So for now, they're just working on this 1v1 game, make sure it works perfectly well, that the wording is good, that everybody likes it. And then once they're done with that portion, they'll see if there's additional portions to add. I love it. It's really cool to see somebody early on in the game creation, and hopefully we'll see this one succeed, because when it does, I will be jumping at picking up a copy. Well, it has been day 277. We've been speaking about the game Compile, and you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description. Well, I can't add an Amazon link right now. Eventually, I will put in a link either to Amazon or directly to their website if no other option, so that you can get a chance to check out this game and potentially add it to your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.